Hi everyone, it's Marianne, and for today's video, I'm sharing with you my favorites for summer 2022. Thank you so much for joining me today, and every end of the season, I share with you my favorites, and I did one previously for spring and also winter. So if you haven't seen those, I'll have the links to those videos down in the description. And I'm very excited to share with you my summer favorites because I think I have some very good ones that I'm gonna be mentioning in this video. But before we get started, if you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Marianne. Welcome to My Oasis Life, where I take you along my houseplant journey and share with you some of my tips and tricks along the way. I also share lifestyle content that is focused on sustainability, wellness, productivity, as well as share with you some of my personal and travel vlogs here and there. So if those type of content interests you, make sure to subscribe to my channel before the end of this video, and also make sure to like this video and comment down below and share with me what has been your favorites this past summer. But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started. And for my favorites, I love to start with my favorite houseplants of the season. And for summer, it's more of like a collective favorite than an individual plant, but I'm going to mention a couple of them and you probably see them right next to me already. But first one is my tropical garden bed that I created with my reject plants. So this is kind of like my effort to give the plants that I kind of don't like anymore, that are not really working out for me as indoor house plants, to plant them in the garden bed that I had outside and turn it into like a tropical bed, and kind of like that's their last chance to shine for me. And these plants really humbled me because they flourished being outside. Honestly, they're probably the best growers. They're kind of like the MVPs of this growing season when it comes to growth, because they're doing really well outside. For most of them, some of them are kind of like but what I've been also doing is my plants that kind of like need rehab, like the Brandtianum and the Philodendron Splendid. Instead of just like water propagating them or propagating them in like any type of medium, I just stick it into the garden bed, because just seeing how my other plants did so well in the garden bed, I'm hoping it will do the same for those kind of like rehab propagations. And we'll see what happens. And so far, they're still alive, they're still there. Maybe something would come out of them. But as far as like the golden pothos, I'm really in love with that. The aglaonema, even the Rhaphidophora tetrasperma that I'm kind of like already, but it's doing actually pretty well, as well as the Philodendron Brazil that I initially thought was a cream splash. So it is a Philodendron Brazil, it wasn't a cream splash. But now that it's planted back outside, you could see the cream variegation coming out a bit more. So I'm really excited about that Philodendron Brazil. I was gonna give away that plant too by the end of the growing season, but I don't know, maybe I'll keep some portions of it. And like the pink syngonium is doing really well. And I think the best one is the Monstera deliciosa that I repotted like 3 or 4 times before I decided to repot it in the tropical bed, and it's now thriving. And the part that was sunburned, it was actually reverting, because at first it was like really bad yellowing and white, and now it's kind of like the yellow parts is gone and like the white parts is shrinking. So that is kind of like amazing to me, because for me, I thought once a plant has leaf burn, there's really no way that it would revert or go away. But with this one, it hasn't completely gone away, but it has improved dramatically. So I'm really happy for that, as well as my Tomatophyllum bifidum. I did repot it. It's not in a tropical bed, it's kind of like just around it. I did repot it or put it in a slightly bigger pot, but I don't know if I could really increase the pot size anymore, because I kind of like want to keep it small, because it's great outside with its all lush, huge leaves, but by the time I need to bring it back inside, I really have to prune it down. So that's the only thing about that plant. But during the growing season, it looks amazing. And of course, the avocado plant and the mango tree also doing really well. So I'm really happy for the plants that I have outside in that tropical bed area, thriving, doing really well, 10 out of 10. The next set of plants that I'm really proud of and really enjoyed this summer is my plants in poles. So a lot of those plants were originally in my IKEA greenhouse cabinet that they outgrown. So for me to be able to still keep them as part of my collection without taking up too much space, I decided to put them in different types of moss poles. I've done like 3 videos, I think by now, on the different types of moss poles that I've been using for my house plants. And so far they've been working out really great. I think any of the moss poles that I have used have been working out spectacularly. So I'm really excited about that. And I'm kind of like already planning how am I going to arrange them once I have to bring them back in, because I think by the end of September I have to start bringing back in the plants because the weather is going to start getting cold and they can no longer stay outside. You can see in the B-roll here how amazing they're doing from the Syngonium albo that I finally gave something to climb on. People always say, why your Syngonium albo is bushy while others need to trellis them. Now I finally need to trellis the plants because it is growing taller, but it's doing so well. And also my Scindapsus plants. I am going to do a video specifically on my Scindapsus collection. So in that video, I'll go more in depth in my Scindapsus collection, but I will mention one that is really standing out is the Scindapsus Silver Lady. So this is she. I got it off a plant swap or a plant trade, I think sometime last year. And I started this with a single leaf, 3-leaf cutting plant. I think I also did a video on like my successful propagations from single leaf cuttings. And this is one of them. And this is like really a true MVP. I put it in a bendable moss bowl. So this one actually extends. I don't know if you could see, like once it outgrows or it reaches up to here, I could like pull this up and like stretch it out so it has some more room to grow. And I could link it down in the description if you're interested in this bendable moss bowl, but this was sent to me by the brand, just full disclosure. But so far it is working out for me, especially for this Silver Lady. And why I particularly want to mention this is because for like a lot of Scindapsus plants, my goal and the goal of a lot of plant parents is to get them to shingle. But it's actually, at least in my experience, very hard to get a Scindapsus plant to shingle. I have tried so many times in so many different ways, even letting them climb up on my wall directly. Never really worked out. But with this one is like properly shingling. I don't know if you could see over here. It's really attached itself to the moss bowl and it doesn't have huge gaps in between the leaves. So I'm really happy about this one that it is properly shingling. The leaves are getting bigger, but not as big as an Exotica yet. If you've seen in my tropical garden bed, I have an Exotica leaf that's really huge. Not sure if this one will get to that size, maybe, because I think the size of this one is in between of a Scindapsus argyrius and like the Exoticas or the Silver Splash that can get really huge, but maybe this one will get big as well. So this one is definitely, I want to mention specifically for this video when it comes to my plants in poles. This is definitely one of the more successful ones, but honestly, I'm very happy with every single plant that I put in moss bowls. All of them worked out but one, which is the Brantianum. But so far, for all of the other plants that I put in moss bowls, doing really great, especially the Scindapsus Silver Lady. And if I do have to pick and choose a plant favorite for the summer, it's definitely my Epipremnum pinnatum. I've been wanting the Epipremnum pinnatum albo and the Aurea for a long time now. I finally got an albo as a gift from Arid Asia, which was an import order. And the Epipremnum pinnatum Aurea is from a plant swap that I also recently went to. And right now they are currently in this D-shaped moss bowl, which honestly for me, I think is the best moss bowl out of all the moss bowls that I've used. The only downside to it, it is plastic, but it is plastic that you're going to be using for like a long time. So it's not really a single-use plastic. You definitely, if you take care of it, you could use it for quite a long time and for as long as you have the plant, or maybe you could even use it for your future plants if for some reason the plant that you have it with dies or something. So far it's been durable. This has also been outside and it has been sturdy. And as you can see with my Epipremnum pinnatums, the albo and the Aurea, doing so well. And you can see at the back the roots already growing so much. So I'm really excited about that. You can see the root growth in the moss, because the thing with the other moss bowls, while they are working great and they work great for the Scindapsus and the Syngonium plants that I have them on, if you really want to get your plants to grow large leaves, the root system needs something to grow into. And this one allows for that because it has a lot of moss inside the moss bowl, but then not so much, because a lot of other people, when they DIY their own moss bowl as well, they make like the round ones, which uses up a lot of sphagnum moss, which I kind of don't like. And I know you could put like other mediums in it, like cocoa coir or something, but I prefer to use moss when it comes to this one because it's lighter weight and it actually holds moisture. With a cocoa coir, it can be lightweight, but it doesn't hold moisture as much, and you end up like watering quite more frequently. And even with this one, I water this like pretty frequently anyways, but maybe because it is outside. So yeah, so if I'm gonna mention a plant MVP or plant favorite for this summer, definitely my Epipremnipinatum, the Albo, and the Orium combo. So those are my favorite houseplants, and moving on to my favorite products, let's start with my favorite plant products. And my favorite plant products this summer is the products that I got from Houseplant Resource Center. And full disclosure, I did work with them. They sponsored one of my videos that sent these products for free. But as I mentioned in that video and many times before, I'm a huge fan of Houseplant Resource Center. They're the first plant products that I used when I got my fiddle fig. So I was really excited to work with them. And I'm very excited to be having these products with me, even though like the plant food is catered specifically for the Monstera. You can use it for your houseplants, for any of your houseplants. So I've been using it for all of my houseplants, including the houseplant vitamin, the root supplement, especially since I was having issues with root rot, and a lot of the plants that I repotted, I want to make sure that they kind of like transfer well and not have too much of a transplant shock. So the root supplement and the houseplant vitamin is a really good combo for that. And then they recently also sent me the premium orchid food. And if you're interested in any of them, you can find them in my Amazon store. I will have the link also down in the description. One more plant product that I want to mention that is a favorite this summer is this terrarium grow kit that I got from Joann Crafts. I actually got 9 of this in their clearance section along with my mini greenhouse, which again is a summer favorite, but I feel like I've mentioned it so many times, so I even mentioned it in this video, but I would mention this specifically, the terrarium grow kit, because I used this to create centerpieces for my dad's birthday back in July. And you could also see the very first live stream that I did on YouTube, me trying to make all those centerpieces. And those centerpieces was a hit during the event. And also, I guess with some of you, just with the feedback that I got, that I gave you ideas on how to make your centerpieces. Definitely check this out if you can find them in the clearance section. I think it was $9 each. The bowl itself is high quality. It comes with the pebbles, the soil. It actually comes with some seeds. Like it could, I think it came with either the flower seeds like you see in this one. Some came with cactus seeds. I, of course, didn't end up using them. I bought like other plants to use in the centerpieces. But if you want to grow your own terrarium kit, check this one out. And if you can find them in the clearance sections, it's honestly a lot cheaper than buying like the bowls individually or even wholesale on Amazon. Like I look everywhere, terrarium containers are very expensive, whether you buy them individually or wholesale. And this is kind of like the cheapest option that I found to create centerpieces for the party. And it worked out really well. So highly recommend this if you can find it in the clearance section of Joann Crafts or maybe even a Michael's. Moving on to my other favorite products this summer. And you know, aside from my houseplants, another thing that I love to do is to travel, and especially now that restrictions have mostly lifted up from the pandemic, I get to travel a little bit more this year. And this summer I went to New York City again for the second time, and then to Kauai for my birthday. So I was really excited to be able to travel again. Comes with travel is travel luggages, and this summer I felt like upgrading my travel luggage stuff because the ones that I have are really old and don't really function as well anymore. And one brand that I really fell in love with is BEIS by Shay Mitchell. And what I love about these BEIS luggages is not they only look so chic, but they're also highly functional. Every single thing about their products is really well thought out and it's so useful. I really love using it for my travels. The very first one that I bought is this backpack. This is the one that really got me hooked on BEIS products because this is a travel backpack that fits as much as a carry-on, and it definitely does. I used this in my second trip to New York City, which is a lot better than having like a carry-on, because when you walk the streets of New York, you know how nasty the streets of New York can be sometimes, and like lugging your luggage through it or like trying to lift your carry-on on the steps of the subway, difficult. I think one time I like almost tripped on the stairs while trying to lift my carry-on. So I really needed a travel backpack. I really love this, love it in this color. The only thing that I would complain about it is it does stain very easily, especially the beige ones. And I guess the stain does come off quite easily, but not at first, because there was a stain in here on the front side and it took me a while to get it off. And I guess on camera or maybe even in person, you could hardly see where the stain was, but I can see it because I feel like it's a little bit more yellow here now compared to the rest of the bag. That's the only thing that I don't like about this, but I really love their beige products, and I kind of like wanted to create a travel set with the rest of the beige products. So I did end up getting the Weekender Comfortable, also in beige, and I took that with me in Hawaii. I'll insert photos or clips of me using it. But what happened with that bag is it's too big to be a personal carry-on. And like I said, the stain issues. I saw someone else have the Weekender while I was in a TSA security line, and I saw how beat up theirs was. It's like very stained because I think they tried to check it in at one point. So I also heard like if you're gonna get one of the beige products, don't check them in because it's gonna get really dirty and it's gonna be hard to take off the stain. So I think in the long run, it would look really ugly and unsightly. So after my trip to Hawaii, I ended up returning it and got this one instead. This is one of their newest products. This is the Southside Carry-On in black. Initially, I wanted the beige carry-on, but one is always out of stock. And second, again, the stain issue and the scuffing issue, it is a hard case carry-on. And even if the website says it's stain proof, it's not really stain proof. But with this one, it's a lot easier to clean because it is in black. And I do love that the handle is beige, so it still kind of like ties in with my beige backpack if I choose to use it with it. But I also got another product from BEIS, which is this BEIS Sport Pack. Like I think this summer, the one that really kind of like became popular is the Lululemon Everywhere Belt Bag, but I'm trying to get everyone to go after this one instead because yes, it is a little bit pricier than the Lululemon one, but this one is so much bigger. It fits a lot more and it has a lot more function than the Lululemon one. And I love this because if I open it up, again, I've been using this as my everyday bag, so it has a lot of stuff in here. Like here, I have my car keys, and I always love this key hook that they have in pretty much all of their BEIS bags. And then inside is also another zipper which has card holders, so this is kind of like where I have my cards and everything. And at the back it has another zipper where you could put more stuff. I have my reusable bags in here, and it has this cord down here which is like for aesthetic, but it's actually also functional when you're hiking. And what I love about the strap here as well is it has a water bottle holder. So I also brought this to me when I was in Hawaii, and when I was hiking the Kalalau Trail, I had my water bottle in here, which was a lifesaver because even though I only hiked for like about an hour, I definitely needed that water climbing those rocks. I love this one. Great for hiking, great to use as an everyday bag as well, especially if you're into fanny packs or sport packs. I recommend getting the BEIS one. And again, I bought all of this with my own money. I'm not affiliated or sponsored by BEIS, I wish, but I do have a referral link for BEIS. So if you want to get like $15 off your first order, I'll have my referral link down in the description. And also if you like sign up for their newsletter, you can also get like a welcome code that you could use on top of the referral link, I believe. And also if you install Capital One Shopping, if you use Chrome as your web browser, you could probably find other discount codes that will give you much more or a much bigger discount if you don't want to use my referral link. But I would appreciate it if you do, because I'll also get a $15 off my next order if you use my referral link to buy your BEIS products. And I have other BEIS products in mind that I really want to buy. So hopefully help me out if you're looking for a luggage bag. So if you're looking to upgrade your travel luggage anyways, highly recommend checking out BEIS, and love it if you could use my referral link so I could also get further discount codes. And when it comes to experiences and activities that I did this summer, as I mentioned, I've been traveling a lot more again, and I went to New York City and to Kauai, and definitely my trip to Kauai stands out to me since, you know, it's the second time I've been to New York City, and of course it's Kauai. And I think my favorite part of that trip is snorkeling, and snorkeling is now my favorite activity, outdoor activity. And if I could get to snorkel every time I go on a beach vacation. And when it comes to favorite food, I have a few. Everything that we ate in Kauai was amazing, but one that really stood out was the oxtail soup. And when I came back to Maryland, I tried to recreate it right away. Didn't work out, even though I got a recipe online to kind of like mimic it. But I think I really need to specifically use oxtail because I just use like beef shank when I made it. And then when I told like my brother and sister, I tried to recreate the oxtail soup that we had several times in Kauai, but it just doesn't taste the same. And my brother was like, well, I guess you need Hawaiian water for it to actually taste the same, and maybe Hawaiian beef, because in Kauai specifically, beef is locally grown, grass-fed, so it was amazing. Like even the burgers there, the Bubba's Burgers, as I mentioned, I think in one of my shorts or reels, Bubba's Burgers is what In-N-Out thinks it tastes like, because that is probably the best burger I ever had. Because when I was like researching for our trip to Kauai, everyone was like recommending to eat the burgers, and I'm kind of like, why would I go all the way to Kauai to eat burgers? But we tried it anyway, and it was amazing. Really, probably the best burger I ever had was in Kauai from Bubba's Burgers. In this trip, I specifically went out of my way to go to the fruit stands and grocery stores to try out fruits in season. And you can definitely guess why. I was influenced by Kirsten Titus, which is like a Hawaiian influencer, content creator, mostly on TikTok. She's also on YouTube too. And she always like tries out these different fruits from Hawaii. And I was really curious to try how different it tastes from like the mainland versions. Definitely a lot better. There was like one fruit that I was looking for really that I really want to try, which was kaimito or star apple, which is, you know, I love kaimito. I grew up with it in the Philippines, haven't had it in the longest time, but when we were in Kauai, it wasn't in season. They said it was in season like in December. But also one thing that I discovered, I also learned from Kirsten, is lihingwe, which is kind of like the Hawaiian tahine, but instead of it being spicy and salty, it is sweet and tangy, and you kind of like sprinkle it on your fruit as well, makes it taste 10 times better. And it really is. I had it on the shaved ice while I was there, and when I went back to Maryland, I keep sprinkling it on any fruits that we had, and it really enhances the flavor of the fruit. Like the watermelon that we recently got, it doesn't taste as sweet, but when I put the lihingwe, it's kind of like MSG for fruits. I really love it. Like the flavor of the watermelon, it just didn't make it sweeter. It also enhanced the flavor of the watermelon. So, and I tried it with pineapple, with papaya, same thing. So if you can get your hands on the lihingwe, I mean, I got it in a long jugs in Kauai, which is kind of like the CVS version in Hawaii. But I don't know if you could buy it online. Maybe you could buy it online too, but amazing lihingwe. And when I was in New York, the favorite thing that I probably had, it might be a TikTok trendy food, but it lived up to the hype, which is the Lafayette croissant. And when I come back again to New York at the end of September and again in November, I'll definitely go back to Lafayette Bakery and try one more of their croissants. They do change the flavor every single month. The constant one that they have is the chocolate one, but they always have like another flavor that changes every single month. So I'll be excited to try whatever flavor they have for September. I haven't checked their Instagram yet to see what is their flavor for September, but I'm excited. And last of my favorites is media consumed, books, TV shows, movies. When it comes to books, I don't have any book recommendations for this summer, even though summer is the prime time for reading. I haven't really read any books, to be honest. Nothing worth mentioning, to be honest. I mean, I like to read my spicy books, but that's pretty much it, but nothing like noteworthy for me to share with you all. When it comes to TV shows, that's where I kind of like had a lot of favorites. I watched Schitt's Creek for the first time. I know I'm very late to the bandwagon, but after I watched it, I loved it, and I probably watched the entire series 3 or 4 times by now. And I'm really sad that it's going away on Netflix by October 6th, but I think it's moving on to either Hulu or HBO Max. And the one that I'm currently watching right now, already a favorite, is House of Dragons. I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, like a lot of people. I was disappointed with the last season, so going into the House of Dragon, I'm a little bit wary, but I loved it from the very first episode. So I've been like watching it religiously every Sunday, and it's nice to have a show that you look forward to watching every single week again. I haven't had that since WandaVision, so I'm really excited to be watching and waiting for every episode of House of Dragon to come out every week. But TV shows is what kind of like filled up my summer media consumption. But yeah, so those are my summer favorites. Let me know what your summer favorites are down in the description. And if you are interested in any of the products or anything that I mentioned in this video, I'll have them linked down in the description. If they're not linked down in the description, you probably could find it on my website, plantifulshop.com, and also in my Amazon store. All of them are linked down in the description. But thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, I hope you subscribe. I come up with videos every week. And if you found any value in this video or in any of my videos, please do consider sending me a super thanks. The button is down below, and any super thanks that you send me will help me create more and better videos for you all. And if you haven't yet, check out these videos up here until my next one. But until then, I see you, I appreciate you. Take care of yourself and each other, and have a plentiful day. Bye.